Good evening, everybody. Hi, guys. It's Dana Zulik, and this is Local Wars. So I started a live stream earlier today and got like 6 or 7 minutes into it, and it's so much to learn. It's a lot to learn, guys. I got a new computer finally, so it's been a long time since I got a computer. I feel like I'm like tapped back in to society and social media and all the fun things. So tonight we're going to be talking about um, basically what the thumbnail says. It says, you know, government corruption versus animal tickets. So if you need to get caught up to speed on all things animal at large tickets and some of the background involving those, you can watch the last episode that was aired, and we go through into like the deep dive of how all of this sort of began, and then what's going on currently when it comes to court cases and trials coming up for the animal at large. So for anybody that's new and just joining us, my name is Dana Zulik. I am a mom, a combat veteran, and a business owner. I have been in litigation in one way or another with the Village of Richfield for almost 10 years. And the reason I say that is I believe that these animal tickets are, with all my heart, I believe that they're directly connected to everything that's been going on. The tickets don't happen if Scenic Pit doesn't happen, right? So if this lawsuit never would have happened, then I wouldn't be sitting here talking to all of you wonderful people about being cited over 100 times for animal at large tickets. One just does not go without the others, right? So I always have to point out that I am aware of criticism out there and people who say, well, Dana, you should just, put a fence up. And I want everybody to know that I understand completely. I have constructed 3 separate fences, one wood, one electric, one metal, numerous gates, and they kept getting destroyed and vandalized. We have evidence of baiting. And if you ask, why would anybody want to do this? Well, I get issued $515 per time I get an animal at large ticket. And I think because they combine the tickets sometimes into one and stuff, so throughout time now on the actual court records, there's about 63. I'd have to go back and look at the brief that we shared the other night, but it's in that range. So you can imagine at $515 times that, it adds up. So what we're going to go over tonight is a meeting that I had with our elected district attorney, Mark Benson. And this was what I like to say. I tried to prepare for tonight. So let's see. I did one of these fun little things. Hold on. Ready? Oh no, where did it go? I made this because I'm like, I have to just kind of remind myself, of like basic ideas and stuff. So, where's the one that oh, here we go. Ready? Yet another plea to do the right thing. Yet another plea to do the right thing. So that's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to listen to me having a meeting with Mark Benson. Now, keep in mind, the 2 cases I'm there for, at least one of those 2 has been dismissed. There's so many, it's hard for me to keep track of them all. So I did not take the time to go pinpoint which ticket was for this meeting and whatnot. But I do believe that at least one of them was one we were talking about tonight, and they ended up getting dismissed. So all of this conversation, this meeting, picking the jury, selecting the jury, briefs, briefs on jurisdictional issues and all that. And what do? They just go ahead and dismiss it anyways. So it's really frustrating. So we're going to listen to this together, and I'm going to do my best to let it play, but sometimes I just got to say what I got to say when I got to say it. So let's go ahead and just do that. I think I got it. I think I can do it. Okay. Except now I don't know how to like rewind it. County and my neighbors. There we go. Okay. Are you willing to look into it?
I'm not. I'm not
Okay,
an
just
investigator.
wait, as I was. Okay, here we go.
We'll just be a few minutes. Thank you.
Here we go.
Pepper is a great dog. Very nice. How long have you had Pepper?
5 years.
Okay. All right. So you had one batch of cases that you went to trial on, and you were 0 for 4, or 4 for 4, depending on one's perspective. And then there's a couple other ones that we're just, in light of the fact that you have 4, we just took care of. Okay. So now you have 2 more here. Which
other ones did you take care of?
There was 2 that were set for trial, Dana. 2 other ones that we just dismissed.
Why are you irritated with me?
What's that? So what are we gonna do in these cases here today?
I'm going to trial.
Okay, then that's what we gotta do.
But may I also show you some things that I got here?
You can show me whatever you want, but that doesn't, I mean, if you're not willing to accept any responsibility, or if we're just gonna go to trial each time, that's fine. We'll just do that.
Okay, so, but are you willing to accept responsibility for the people in your organizations doing what they're doing to me? Because I'm trying to explain to you that this is a violation of my civil rights, and I have the evidence here for you, right here, and I am going to be naming you in a federal lawsuit that a law firm has agreed to take, a very good law firm that wins. And anyways, this is the evidence that I have. So here's where I'm being told I'll be put in jail, which is wrong. I can't be. Here's where
by who?
The prior sheriff in 18. There's more. This is Ethan, the county person, talking about how many citations I've had, and they believe that there's no single person in the county who's been ticketed for any reason this amount of times. Now, when it comes to,
do you think that's incorrect?
I think it's absolutely correct. I also don't believe in coincidences. I think it's interesting that I win a case against the government and then I'm cited this many times with evidence of breaking fences and tampering fences. Yeah. And then we've got the sheriff himself admitting, I've got you on audio admitting to me that this is what happens when you sue the government. I have Janelle Brandon.
So what are you proposing?
I believe
what are you proposing? What's your proposal on these 2 cases?
My proposal is that my proposal is that you investigate.
What's your proposal on these 2 cases?
I'm asking you to hold the government accountable for what they're doing to me. It's a violation of my First Amendment, my 4th Amendment, my 14th Amendment, my 8th Amendment. $500 per ticket per time when there's clear evidence that the people, here, I'll show you this document. Here's all of the case law that talks about people who've been charged numerous times, just like me. Look, these are all winning in 7th District. And look, here's the call log that I can put your records person for the sheriff's department on the stand, and she can tell you she's never seen anything like it. Look, this is the call log. Look at this. This is normal. You're not even looking.
I'm filling out a stipulation, David.
Look at this. You think this is normal behavior? And it's all from the same people. The same exact people who have filed fraudulent charges against me that got my bankruptcy dismissed. How am I, if you talk about the time and resources of the county being spent, how am I as an individual party supposed to afford this coordinated attack on me by the Village of Richfield? I can prove Josh Showman's involvement. I can prove the sheriffs being used as pawns. I can prove your negligence in even looking into the matter while my family continues to be harassed. So here, it says here, the
Circuit noted the plaintiff offered evidence of a pattern of discriminatory behavior on the part of a government, and such a pattern can perform the same function as the similarly situated requirement in other class of one claims. So all of this is this is what our government is set up to do, is to protect people from being targeted and retaliated against.
Okay, I'm going to stop it right there. So pretty much what's happening at this moment, you can hear him flipping pages. I'm flipping pages too, but he's sort of just, again, focused on this, oh, we're here for the animal tickets and nothing to see here. And I'm sitting here with evidence in hand with a very scholarly brief. I have receipts for all the claims, and he just is disinterested. He doesn't care. I so frustrated because a lot of times when I go in to meet with them, I'll just kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Just sort of go on the fly, just by the seat of my pants. And I think sometimes it gets overwhelming because there's so much information and so many moving parts that it sounds nuts. It really does. I mean, I understand that, if he's going along with what all the, you know, local officials in this groupthink process, with that I'm just bad and ridiculous and won't take responsibility, then why would he believe anything that I say? It's just amazing to me, though, because I would think as a professional and being a licensed attorney that he would actually take the exhibits. I mean, he wouldn't even take the paperwork. I tried to, you can hear me talking about it, but other than that, he has no interest. He doesn't have any interest. He just wants me um, to stop. And what I find really interesting is I was having a conversation with my friend today, and I'm like, you know, if anybody wants to complain that this is costing too much resources, like the sheriff's department and the courts, they're always telling me how much money this is costing them. And I'm like, no, I believe, and the law says in our case that the DNR is the regulatory authority over our site. And so there is a mechanism for law enforcement, and that's through the DNR, through a warden. I'm not saying I'm just allowed to break rules and do this and do that, but like to remove that discrimination and arbitrary treatment, to take that out of the mix. This is why the lawmakers made the law the way they did regarding my property, is to prevent discrimination. And so it's really frustrating for me because I'm like, dude, you guys could just wash your hands. You could just and be done with it, right? Like, it's not our problem, community, angry neighbors. It's not, nope. It's the DNR. They're not. They're the ones, talk to them. But if I start critically thinking about it, it's hard for me to put myself into other people's shoes when it comes to malice or malicious thought, um, ill will, wanting to get back and have a vendetta. It's just not the way my brain processes. I don't possess a lot of malice, and I'm very trusting of people to a fault. And as you'll learn on my channel, if you haven't already, I overshare. I open myself up to a lot of criticism because I look like a vulnerable person. The reality is, it's taken me a long time to just accept the fact that, perhaps I'm just a good person. 'Cause I am. But when I put myself into the shoes of somebody who maybe doesn't want good for other people and they want things to go bad for me, then it makes sense to me that they're not just washing their hands of this and sending it to the DNR, um, right? Because this is a tool that they're using, and over time, we'll get to all of those different things, but it's not fun for me to read those emails. of all the things the neighbors and the local officials are saying to state officials and county officials. It's not fun, guys. It's like I said in one of the episodes, I'm not like, oh, I'm going to go have a relaxing afternoon and read a bunch of crap talking about me. It's just not my idea of a good time. So let's finish this audio. Otherwise, I'll just keep going off on tangents and we won't finish it. So here we go.
Is a conspiracy for a coordinated.
Okay. All right.
You can roll your eyes at me all you want. You've not heard it all before. You
okay.
haven't looked into it. I
Okay.
tried to give
Dana,
you.
we have in the past, okay? So we're
Really? What did you find? Did you find these documents when you looked into it? Did you find this? Have you spent any resources?
Dana, are you
looking
going to
into-
sign this? This is just indicating that
I
on
don't
these
want to
cases.
sign it.
Okay.
And I want a
So-
jury trial too.
Well, you do what you got to do if you want a jury trial, but right now it's being scheduled for a court trial. So you
On
did not-
each individual one or all of them combined? So what you're telling me is you're refusing to look into
So are you going to
this
sign this saying that
coordinated
we haven't reached
campaign
an
of
agreement?
harassment.
Are you saying that you're not going to sign this if you get a copy for yourself, asking that it be set for trial? I'm
Fine,
asking
I'll
you
set
for-
it for trial, but are you
I'm asking-
refusing to
I'm
look
asking that both of them
into,
be set for trial on the same day.
are you willing to look into the conspiracy of a coordinated campaign of harassment towards me on behalf of the village of Richfield, the county, and my neighbors?
Okay.
Are you willing to look into it?
I'm not an investigator.
You're the district attorney, you're an elected official, Mark.
You're right.
You yourself are elected to represent the people.
You're right.
And
This
I
is
am
the
willing
same.
to expose all of this.
Okay, just you.
Are
need
you
to do-
ready?
You need to do what you need to do, Dana.
I do,
Okay,
because
I
this
know.
is gonna happen to other people. If it can happen to me, it can happen to anybody.
I understand. So we have this one, you have one.
Do you
if wanna
feel
send
good about
one-
this at night?
I don't feel good about it, Dana. I really wish.
What
you
about
could
when
just-
you
I
called
really
me?
wish you could just keep your animals,
So you honest to God think that I'm so incompetent that I can't figure out a fence, Mark?
You have in the past, Dana. You have.
I'd put up 3 fences and they all get destroyed. How much money do you propose I spend when I've got this kind of fine? Putting up a fence that functions. There's other alternatives that the county has, including installing a fence and billing me. Why doesn't the county save some money
So you
by
want the
putting up?
county to put up a
Sure,
fence for you?
sure, because guess why?
They want-
Nobody's looking into what's happening. Maybe you'll care more if it's your fence.
So you want the county?
Yeah,
to
so
put
that
up
when
a
it's
fence.
damaged, you can see it for yourself and believe me.
Right.
These people
That's an interesting-
want me gone.
This is an interesting proposal.
It is an interesting proposal.
Have them, and they, okay. All right, so you're gonna send this one here, and then we'll go over on. Thank you for coming in. It was nice to meet your dog.
I really wish you guys would do the right thing. My family is suffering.
I feel bad, Dan. I
you
do. I do feel bad because we went through a period of time. It was like 8-10 years ago when you had a bunch, and we figured something out, and I didn't
And
hear
do you
from
know what we figured out?
we didn't have any cases with you for several years, and then all of a sudden now there's.
Can I tell you
There's
why,
more.
Mark? Are you willing to
There's
entertain why?
always a reason.
Sure.
Okay, the first group of the horses was when I won against the Petrozatis. I won the boundary dispute. They cut my fences in 3 places. My neighbor has all the pictures. And when you cut an electric line, it ruins the circuit for the entire thing. They got out 11 times. I called the sheriff's department when I was in Florida and found out I won. I said, heads up, I won a case. If history repeats itself, they're gonna be real angry. And sure enough, within 2 days, ponies running around the village. Then we go for quiet for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Now my ex-husband is trying to take my property. I can show you the emails that I have of how they
So
follow.
this is your ex-husband doing this?
No, the people want me to lose my property and run me out of town. I'll show you. They follow.
It's like my head wants to.
Dana, I do have some other
Oh.
things going on today. Thank you. I wish you the best, okay?
So you're gonna walk out on me as I'm showing you the evidence. All right.
Dana, I
Look at
spent
this.
15, 20 minutes here with you,
Look at it.
okay?
This is Marilyn and Paul Craig. They follow my CCAP. Look at this. They know everything that's going on. And they've talked to Jim Healy about it. And they're like, look, we need to press down on her. We need to press down on her. And I've got this from numerous neighbors. It happens over and over and over and over and over and over and over. But nothing to see here, right, Mark?
All right.
Maybe you'll decide to do the right thing, I hope.
Another plea. Guys, another plea. Another plea. So I tried to hit the button that says yet another plea to do the right thing, like you see right there. But we're gonna have to do like some people do like drinking games or something. We'll have to make up an emoji or something that had yet another plea to do the right thing. Please. Just listen. And just listen. If they put as much effort into just following the laws the way they're written, I feel like we wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have hundreds of thousands of dollars of legal fees that I've acquired. The Village of Richfield residents, guys, you're over $800,000 for my case alone. Over $800,000 for something that was already well settled case law. I remember the village attorney, John Macy, saying in one of the meetings, guys, this is a loophole. They found a loophole. It's not a loophole, Mark. Or Mark was the other one I was talking to. It's not a loophole, John, attorney Macy. It's not a loophole. It was well settled case law. You know that. I know that. I'm not sure the Village of Richfield officials know that. I don't even think, I think you have Jim Healy so snowed. I think he truly doesn't understand what that case is. I don't think he understands the gravity of the DeRosso case and how our case came along, and we didn't set new case law. We just reaffirmed old, well-settled case law. The original case was unanimous in favor of the clean fill facility, and my case was unanimous in favor of upholding the already existing well-settled case law. So, I mean, when you're looking at a village attorney that is contracted with a municipality who has made $800,000 off of my case alone, then you start to see, well, geesh, is there an interest there? Is this policing for profit? Is this giving bad advice? I don't know. I don't have answers to those questions. But if I could speculate, and it's my opinion based on my experiences and the things that I've researched and read, I do think that Attorney John Macy maybe didn't. I guess he's either incompetent or refusing. Right. So he either knows the truth and what the well-settled case law is, and that there was very little chance that Richfield was ever going to win this case in the high courts. Or so he either, now I forgot which one I said, because now I'm having 3 or 4 different versions that it could be. So either way, it's my belief that John Macy is misleading the board. John Jeffords, he probably understands it, but I mean, this is strategy, right? If you look up municipal law and litigation, they have the word litigation in their name. I mean, there's no laws preventing them from engaging in lawsuits with their with people that they oppose, or business owners or residents. The only thing that they need is the blessing of the village attorney, apparently, and the board, and it benefits John Macy. It benefits John Macy and his firm every time Richfield engages in a lawsuit. And I'm telling you, it's not good for Richfield. It's not good for the people, any party that's in litigation. It's stressful, and it's harmful. But I just think that it makes sense that the person who's suggesting to the I'm really struggling for my words here, but the person who's making the legal opinion to the board is the one that benefits if they agree to go into litigation, into court. My thing is, like, isn't like there used to be the office of the intervener, or, you know, where are the checks and balances for things like this? And I understand strategy is used a lot, like legal strategies. So like maybe if there's a couple businesses that are in litigation, um, you kind of go at it, some people use strategy as a way to win the case rather than the facts and what the law was intended to do. So, that idea of we'll run her out of money. We know this is well settled case law, but guess what, guys? Maybe she'll run out of money. And if then it won't matter if we're right or wrong on the law because she'll be gone, right? She's going to run out of money. So I think, yeah, I can see how between private parties, that happens, but I don't think the government has any business trying to out litigate parties, especially when they know that it's well settled case law. This has already been adjudicated. It was not, Attorney Macy, it was not a loophole. Which reminds me, guys, you got to tell them. Okay, that's for another day, Dana. For anybody that doesn't know from watching the other videos, I am very much an advocate for mental health awareness. And so if you ever see me pause or try to gather up my thoughts and it feels a little awkward, I hear you. I find myself awkward too. I tell my friends all the time, I'm like, people be like, damn, like, remember when we were in Iraq or hanging out with buddies? Damn, you can be annoying. I'm like, I know, right? Like, at least you can walk away from all of this, right? At least you can just run away. Me, I'm stuck here. I'm stuck here annoying myself. But anyways, so with that being said, there was one thing that was said during that audio when I was explaining to him how, like, I want to do a chart to show how the animal tickets, they do this like uptick, when there's something going on in court, so in the case I was talking to him about, he mentioned they went years without having a problem. And I wanted to explain to him why that was, because it has a direct relationship with things that happen in court. And my neighbors had just after we should name it, guys, the Culvert um Culvert Gate, like the Culvert Gate scandal. When the village attorney, the village administrator, Jim Healy, and our neighbor to the south over here had a meeting and came up with a fantastic idea to saw my culvert in half. Then didn't get any charges, and they didn't even so much as get a $515 chicken crossing the road ticket. I wonder how much that ticket would have been if they actually got criminal damage to property. Like, I wonder if it would have been $515. It's probably like $72 or something. Like, Dana, your chicken, it cannot cross the road, $515 for you. For you. No, we don't care about those chickens over there. They're not your chickens, okay? The ones that aren't your chickens, those ones are fine. Those ones are cool. Like, it's just a chicken. But your chickens, ma'am, we don't mess around. Your chickens need to stay where they are. What? The neighbor's cutting culvert? Is that your chicken crossing? Make it make sense. Mind blown. It's just something. It's just absolutely absurd. So I actually have a news story that I'm going to share with you tonight. I even heard it, guys. I heard it on like the Wisconsin Farmers Station or something. I was operating in the dozer one day, and like I'm Oh, no, my buddy called me and said he heard it when he was at work. And people were calling into this radio show, and it's a farm. It's like an agricultural station. So they're actually laughing, and they're like, when city people move out to the country, and it's like 911. And the lady's like, there was a guy, and he goes, there's a donkey in my backyard. She's like, ma'am, or sir, you called 911. Right, but it's like not mine. Like, this donkey in my backyard in this country way of life, Richfield, it's not mine. It's that was an emergency. And the radio host was just getting the biggest kick out of me. Just sounded so ridiculous. I gotta stop this little cough. It's like, hey, but I did solve the fly issue. I'm happy about that. I'm not gonna tell you my secret. Unless you private message me, I'll probably tell you. So this video stemmed from, I want to give you a couple of disclaimers. It hurts my soul to watch it as well. I do not want my horses running around the community. I want them safe and sound, happy. I want the community safe, the animals safe, everybody safe. And so this is during the winter when I was in Florida, like you heard me talk on the video or on the audio, and I had just gotten back, and there's even a worker there. I had hired a friend of mine to come over and actually fix the fence. We had to install a wood fence, like, because they ruined the electric lines. So now I had to put the horses in this little tiny paddock, which sucks because they had 8 acres to roam before, but people couldn't keep their little Edward Scissorhands. I had to cut it. Your little Edward Scissorhands had to just cut my fence. So we had to put up a real one. Electric fence would be just fine, but anyway, so it's hard to watch. And I was way in over my head at this time, admittedly so, because once the fence got cut, and there were other things going on too, that life gets hard. And so I was really overwhelmed, and I made the really tough choice to rehome several of these horses. So anyways, they found good homes. And I forgot to put it to this. Sorry, you guys had to stare at that for so long. I'm learning. But let's watch this video, and you can see. I just want to point out too, I'll put up my little banner when it pops up, but the woman that they interviewed, now keep in mind, she's the one that called the news. So like she had time to like do her makeup and like me, I look like I just crawled out of training out in the field in the middle of winter. Like, I'm a mess. So just letting you know, I realize. Also, so those are the only things I want to. Okay, let's just listen to it. Dana, we want to hear it. We know. Here we go.
In Washington County are worried about a pack of horses that continue to run loose in their neighborhood.
Neighbors think the animals are a safety risk. CBS 58's Brendan Cullerton talked to neighbors and the owner of the horses. He reports from Richfield.
Dana Zulik says she's been cited for animal at large probably about 70 times. These are the current animals causing the issue. And if you take a look, there's actually 2 horses outside the fence right now. Everyone involved is just trying to keep the neighborhood safe.
There they are again.
Richfield residents say this has become an all too common occurrence in their neighborhood.
Oh no, Rusty in the
A group of horses, a mule, and a baby donkey keep escaping from Dana Zulik's fence.
I had them Friday night during the storm.
Neighbor Lori Hoffman recently took this video of the horses running. She says the road they escaped to is very busy with hills that limit visibility.
We need this issue resolved before someone gets injured or dies.
The animals caused a flurry of 911 calls during a storm on Friday.
I forgot to mark the part. That was the lady. But get this. legit, I ended up with their donkey. He was like literal, or not donkey, their goat. Their goat ended up at my house. And you know what I did? I called the news. And I'm like, this goat. No, I didn't. I put an ad out on Next Door Neighbor, and they came and picked up their goat. It was a little awkward though, right? Because like they made this big hoopla and did all this stuff. They know the story of everything. It's like all of a sudden it's kind of like karma, like, oh, thanks, ma'am, for giving us our animal that we didn't keep penned up. The difference is I'm not trying to create problems here. I'm just trying to go about my business. But this needs to be talked about, so here I am.
Friday, when they allegedly made their way to the railroad tracks.
This horse is in the road, for Christ's sake, it's snowy out.
Like a herd of horses walking along scenic road. They're kind of on the shoulder, but we had to stop. I mean, some of them were in the middle of the road.
And then that's Giovanni.
Zulik says she's made neighborhood enemies through land disputes and purchasing a local quarry as part of a project to help her fellow veterans.
I know for a fact somebody is tampering with my fencing.
She's already had to find new homes for her goats and chickens, which also routinely got out. She says she doesn't have the resources to build a sturdy enough fence for the horses.
I just hope they
That's
stop.
not quite what I said.
Because it's not fair to the animals or to the community.
Zulik says because of all of these issues, she is looking to downsize her herd, and she is in the
this
process of finding new
story
homes
helps.
for a
So for
majority
that, I
of her
think
horses. Reporting in
it
Richfield,
was helpful.
Brendan Cullerton, CBS 58 News.
Well,
That baby donkey was cute.
yeah, without taking sides, that could end so badly.
It
Oh,
really
for
could.
sure.
For a
Great.
driver and for a horse, you don't want anything to happen to a horse.
No.
Yep. I agree with you, sir. So yeah, it's outrageous. It's crazy. It's in a nutshell, just to wrap this up tonight, instead of just following the law the way that the law was written and the way the judicial branch interpreted the law, it was already settled. There was no reason for any of this other than egos, abuse of power, particular neighbors who benefited from using the property as, for their own pleasure, when it was private property the whole time. And by the way, I still would love for anybody like who lives around me and stuff. There's a couple of neighbors that we have to keep it secret. I'm not going to name names or anything, but the ones that no, but I do have friends that live very close, and it's so great. The kids go back and forth. They walk the trails, and it's great. It's fantastic. And I want that for our community. I'm truly not here to make anybody angry or mad. And hopefully, since I've started our new system here at the pit, I'm sure if you drive by, those of you that are local, you'll see changes made. And I just want you to know every day we're trying to improve and get better. And let's just see if we can't get back to the basics. I'm processing this as I do this channel, so I'm kind of processing it with y'all. So tomorrow we're going to live stream earlier in the day. I don't like doing it at night. I'm tired. I kind of just want to snuggle with my fur babies and, but I thank you for joining me. And I look forward to watching the channel grow. And I encourage you to share and subscribe because it really, really helps us get this message out. And that message is, remember that too much power, when you're in a position of power, it's never okay to just abuse it, especially when the law is clear. Okay. And there was this other video. Gosh, you know what? That's what we're going to do tomorrow. So Courtney, if you watch this later, I'm going to give myself a reminder because otherwise I'll forget. But I want to share with you this board meeting from Surprise, Arizona. So it's not too far from where I grew up. And it's really interesting because the board is really similar to how our board is. So, this is happening across our country. So let's start waking up, paying attention, and finding out how we can all somehow live in a space where we can actually agree to disagree. And like I've said before, you don't have to like the court's decision, Jim Healy, and John Jeffords and the board. You don't have to like it. You don't have to agree with it, but you must follow it. It's required. And you took the oath of office. So, all right. That's it for tonight. I'm Dana Zulik, and thank you for joining me on Local Wars, and I look forward to talking to you tomorrow. Bye, guys. Oh, yeah, and I love each and every single one of you, whether you believe me or not. And I meant to do this. Bye.